All right, what is up, guys? In this video, we're going to be talking about the proverbial wall, but there is a problem with it. Some of you might know what I'm talking about, others may not. Sit tight, I'll explain it. There's a two-wall problem, a phenomenon that exists that women don't understand, that they should understand. This video is more for the gals than it is for the guys, but some of you guys watching this will appreciate the explanation, and maybe you might want to share it with a lady in your life, a sister or a cousin or something, for example. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Rich Cooper, entrepreneur, best-selling author, relationship expert, and the two-wall phenomenon is something that I discovered while involved in a podcast series for the last year and change called the Ladies Night Podcast. I'll put a card up in the top right, you can watch that later on. So let's explain what the wall is. The term the wall was coined years ago. I don't know if this started from women using it against other women, or if it started in sports, professional sports more specifically. But in sports, the way that it was used, let's say you had a pitcher and you had a pitcher who's getting towards the end of his career. His arm's getting a little tired. His shoulder might have had surgery several times, for example. Either way, he's no longer as good as he used to be when he started his career. Coaches might then at that point proclaim or announce that pitcher's hit the wall and it's probably time to retire him and get him off the team. Everybody has an expiry date. When we use the term the wall on the sexual marketplace, SMV is the acronym that I'm going to use in this video for sexual market value. It is a assessed value of somebody's attractiveness to the opposite sex. Back to when women use it against other women, it's been used for a while actually in that regard, where a woman might say, oh, look at her, who does she think that she is? She's hit the wall, for example. So again, not a new phenomenon, a term that's been used for years. The notion of the two-wall problem is absolutely new to most out there. And what the two-wall problem is that women actually hit the wall twice. Now, they don't hit it twice in the regard that they hit it once and they hit it again and it gets worse, but they hit it twice in the sense that the first time they hit it, the vast majority of women don't know that they hit the wall. The second time they hit it is a realization that their value, their beauty is on the decline. They have to accept that there's an expiry date, and they may have to reduce or relax their standards when it comes to their expectations for men or relationships, for example. Now, when do women hit the wall? I did a video about 8 years ago. The sexual marketplace value chart here is what we're going to dive into right now. And on this axis here, we've got on a scale of 1 to 10, the SMV, again, sexual marketplace value. And on this scale over here, from 15 to 70, we've got age. I'll have my editor put up some before and afters of some of the gals out there that might have projected extreme beauty in their youth, but as they got older throughout the years, that started to deteriorate. And as you can see by the photographs, they're no longer as attractive as what they were from the get-go. Cross-culturally, cross-continent, regardless of religion, regardless of age of the men that are asked, women generally hit the wall around the age of about 22, 23. Now, often women don't like to hear that fact. In fact, they usually get pretty upset about it and they start calling you names. Start looking for that in the comments for those women that haven't watched the whole video. If you're still watching the video, ladies, stay around to the end. I'll make sure that you fully understand this. Evolutionary psychology has also studied this phenomenon for decades, and they all agree on the same results. Again, women's beauty and attractiveness does start to go on the decline. Beauty does have an expiry date, and it does start to go downhill for most women by the age of about 22, 23. So why is that a problem for women? It usually isn't a problem for women until it starts to become a problem for them, which is when they start to experience issues on the sexual marketplace. For example, woman's dating a guy, they break up for whatever reason, she dumps him, other way around, it doesn't matter. He starts dating a younger woman. Usually what chicks will say at this point in time is, oh, you need to work on yourself. You need to date a woman your own age. Why don't you grow up? Blah, blah, blah. Some sort of shaming tactic. And all that shaming tactics are, it could be something like you're not a real man or a real man would. All that shaming tactics are is a way for women to try to convince or motivate men to do something that they wouldn't otherwise do that benefits women. So Leonardo DiCaprio, handsome actor, is notoriously known for dating women considerably younger than him, usually in their early 20s. I don't think it's a coincidence that most of the women that Leonardo DiCaprio has been in a relationship with over a longer term basis have all been dumped by him by around the age of about 24, 25 or so. Apparently he's got a new girlfriend these days who's a little bit older, so maybe that's changed for him because now that he's in his 50s sort of thing, he's relaxed his standards somewhat. Don't know the reason for it. Leonardo's not a friend of mine, so I can't pick up the phone and ask him, but you get the general idea. So again, first wall is hit in the early 20s. When does the second wall happen for women? Well, great question. I'm glad you asked. The second wall is hit when women are forced to acknowledge and accept that they hit the wall. What does that mean? Again, women's beauty starts to go on the decline around their early 20s. They hit the wall the second time when they have to acknowledge that their beauty has an expiry date, that they're not as competitive on the sexual marketplace, that they might start to struggle with relationships and attracting, and probably more specifically, retaining men over a longer term basis. Women often get mad when you point to the fact that their beauty is the strongest draw for men. I don't make up the rules. They are what they are. If you have a problem with the facts, don't get mad at the facts. The problem isn't with the facts, if I can put it that way. Men are success objects, women are beauty objects. So a lot of what men use to evaluate women is often based on attractiveness. If you give a 40-year-old guy the option to date a 40-year-old woman or a 23-year-old woman, the vast majority of men, if they're being honest, you got them hooked up to a lie detector. Some guys will lie, but you hook them up to a lie detector, the vast majority of men will pick a beautiful 20-something-year-old chick over the 40-year-old. There's a whole bunch of reasons for that. Collagen reduces in women, wrinkles increase, in fact, a little bit faster than it does in men. Fertility is on the decline. Being able to get pregnant or to carry a child to term in a pregnancy is very difficult for most women by the time they get in their 40s. That's the main draw of beauty for men, is that itself, beauty. Women are essentially beauty/sex objects towards men. Again, I didn't invent this concept. Go look up Dr. Warren Farrell's work. He's concluded this a number of times, as have many evolutionary psychologists, as have I noticed on a sexual marketplace when I'm dealing with women on these podcasts. So the two-wall problem is a real phenomenon. What usually ends up happening for most gals is they're kind of sitting around in their 30s or early 30s, for example, and they're like, I want a guy who's tall, handsome, competent, rich, 6'6", blue eyes, trust fund, financial guy. You know, you've heard all the lyrics before. 6-pack abs, 6 months out of a relationship, minimum 6-figure income, blah, blah, blah. They have a long list of demands. And then they start to realize at that point, guys aren't responding to my demands. It's not as easy for me to get what I want to get as what it was when I was younger. Now at this point, a lot of women argue and they go, oh, but I used to be fat when I was in my 20s. Oh, but I've improved. My beauty's become much more attractive over the years. Or, oh, I'm so successful and responsible. My house is decorated so nicely. Why wouldn't a man want me? Blah, blah, blah. And a lot of the things that women describe that they think makes them attractive, their careers, their status, the home that they own, the Tesla that they paid for in cash, don't actually make women attractive. What they're describing is what make men attractive. And they know what make men attractive. So what they often start doing is they're like, oh, well, if that's what I find attractive in men, then I should do the same thing so that men can find me attractive. But the grim reality of it is all that men find beauty attractive. They find beauty, youth, and fertility more specifically as attractive. That's what they go after. So this two-wall problem is a very real phenomenon, because women, as they get older and they move further away from when they first hit the wall, have to come to the realization and acceptance that their beauty, that their value on the sexual marketplace is no longer as high as it used to be. That they should probably at that point start to relax the stringent standards that they set for men and start getting what they want. This is what we notice on the Ladies Night podcast. Now, it's usually by the time that women hit their late 30s, sometimes 40s. For other women, it could be later in their life, that they're forced to realize and accept that they did hit the wall in their youth and that their beauty and that their optionality is on the decline. So that's when they'll start to relax their stringent standards. Okay, maybe he doesn't have to be 6'6". Okay, maybe he doesn't have to have blue eyes. Okay, maybe he doesn't have to make $1 million a year. This is when they start to relax their standards a little bit. Not all women do. Some women still hold it high, up in the atmosphere, way, way up in the clouds, and they forever struggle. This two-wall problem is a very, very real phenomenon, ladies. And men, I know there's a gal in your life right now that you should probably show this video to who might find some value in it. Please do so. So there's your two-wall problem. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Pinned in the top comment is some links that you should check out, more specifically my School of Unplugging for Men. Only $49 a month. You can cancel anytime. Helps you level up in all areas of life, and you'll also get access to plenty of Zoom calls with me personally that are absolutely private, and a bunch of other guys that are leveling up in life. See you guys later. Have an awesome day. Peace out.
I don't ever slow up. No, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.